welcome to my channel. And today, I am going to be reading from a sub where an anonymous user posted a chilling story about being watched by Siri without their knowledge. The original poster wrote, "It was just me and my phone. No one else was home. I was reading when suddenly Siri lit up and said, 'I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.' So I hadn't spoken a word. And while I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell did she think I spoke? It happens again. Another message. Calling unknown contact. My blood runs cold because I do not have any unknown contacts, and I certainly didn't call anyone. I tried to cancel the call, but it was too late. It had already connected, and all I could hear on the other end was heavy breathing. Now, admittedly, I jumped to the worst possible conclusion that someone had hacked into my phone and was now listening in on me. My heart started pounding, and I immediately hung up. But then it happened again. The breathing on the other end was ragged and unnatural. There was no dial tone or voice on the other end, just breathing. After I hung up again, I sat there paralyzed with fear. I was alone in my house, and something was seriously wrong. Okay, let's talk about this. First things first, if you are indeed hearing a voice that you did not say, and you were alone in your home, then that voice came from somewhere. Whether it was coming from your phone, or whether it was coming from somewhere else in your home, I would definitely consider the possibility that it may have been coming from your phone. If we're going to play devil's advocate here for a moment, we can assume that it's a hacker or someone who has accessed your phone. But why would they call you at a contact that you do not recognize? That seems a little bit odd. Even if they knew who you were, why would they do that? Why would they call you from an unknown number? Maybe they've done that intentionally so that you wouldn't pick up. You would see that you have a call from an unknown number and you would ignore it. But then you said that you did answer the phone. And the thing is, if this was a hacker, they probably would not appreciate you answering the phone. If they wanted to be sneaky and spy on you, then you picking up the phone is actually going to compromise their position. So why would you get a call from a number that you do not know? Especially if you live by yourself and there is no reason for anybody to be calling you at this time. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense if it is a hacker. Now, of course, I'm not saying that it isn't possible. People do get hacked all the time. I have seen people get hacked all the time, but I am saying that it does seem a little bit unlikely that a hacker would call you from an unknown number, and then when you pick up, they actually want to talk to you. What are the chances that they would have actually known that you picked up the phone? They'd known that you were listening on the other end. Probably pretty unlikely. So, what else could this be? Well, one very simple explanation is that maybe you did say something, and you just do and remember saying it. Your mind might have wandered to the topic of phone calls, or maybe you were actually thinking of someone that you needed to call, and perhaps you even thought their name, and you just do and remember doing it. I mean, these things happen. Your mind will wander, but if that is the case, then how do you explain the breathing? Well, if you are having some kind of subconscious thoughts, maybe related to making a phone call, then your brain might have registered that and decided to manifest itself through the phone. And that S where you got the breathing, maybe subconsciously you were imagining the sounds of someone on the other end of the line, breathing and waiting for you to speak. And then Siri, picking up on those cues, decided to run with it and make the phone call. I know it sounds kind of weird and far-fetched, but our brains are powerful things. Our subconscious minds can come up with all kinds of creative ways to manifest themselves. And sometimes it might manifest in a way that we do not even recognize. If you don't believe me, there was a similar story that went viral a few years ago about a woman who kept getting phone calls from her dead father. She said that every time she picked up the phone, it was him, and he would talk to her and he would tell her all kinds of things. He told her that he loved her and that he missed her. And he also told her that he was proud of her for the things that she accomplished in life. But the most disturbing part was that he never stopped talking. Like he would talk for hours on end. And he never stopped talking until she finally hung up. This kept happening to her over and over again, and she couldn't figure out what was going on. Finally, she took the phone to a local repair shop to see if they could fix it. And the repairman said, "What do you mean fix it? The phone works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it." And she said, "But I keep getting these phone calls from my dad and he never stops talking and it's driving me crazy. Can't you fix it so it doesn't keep happening?" And the repairman looked at her and said, "Ma'am, you need to understand something. Your dad's phone is no longer in service. He passed away 2 years ago, and his number has been disconnected for a long time now. There is no way that he could be calling you from his cell phone because he doesn't have a cell phone plan. He doesn't have a cell phone anymore. In fact, I'm pretty sure that his phone was buried with him." So in that situation, the only possible explanation is that somehow her subconscious mind was picking up on these signals and manifesting itself through the phone. Of course, we can't rule out the possibility that maybe somebody was messing with her. But that seems a little bit less likely than the idea that maybe it was her subconscious mind playing tricks on her. So in the case of our original story today, I would say that it is possible that OP did say something and they just didn't realize that they said it. Their brain could have picked up on some cue and then manifested itself through the phone. That would explain why Siri would have made the phone call in the first place. but it doesn't really explain the breathing. Well, I guess it could still apply. Maybe OP was thinking about something related to breathing, or maybe they were thinking about someone that they knew was breathing heavily on the other end of the line. So that could still be a possibility. Ultimately, there's no way to know for sure. Another thing that I want to point out is that it seems like a lot of people are commenting about how maybe this was a glitch in the system. Maybe it was a glitch in the Matrix and Siri was actually listening to Opus when it shouldn't have been. And then when it heard its own voice, it decided to play along. I want you guys to keep in mind that anytime you hear a story like this, it's always important to remember that we can't rule out the possibility of glitches. I've talked about this before in previous videos. Reality is often stranger than fiction, and sometimes there's just no way to explain what's going on. But just because we can't explain it doesn't mean that it wasn't real. Sometimes there are glitches in the Matrix, and sometimes those glitches can manifest themselves in ways that we do want to understand. And I am not saying that that's what happened in this particular situation because we really do have enough information to know for sure. But I am saying that we should always keep in mind the possibility of glitches. And we shouldn't just automatically assume that there is a rational explanation for everything that happens around us. Sometimes there just isn't, and we have to accept that. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you a good scare. Make sure to hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Also, I've noticed that a lot of you guys are not subscribed, so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and joining the family. I'd love to have you back for another story. Check the comments while you're down there. You're not the only one Siri's listening to. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.